Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. Let's see if I have, this is how you get a hold of me. Let's see if I can find this really quick. There it is, pops up, comes over here. If you will take a minute to read this, basically says you can lose your backside trading futures. It's not for everybody. Please make a wise decision. That's what that says. So, okay. So let's get to, hold on one sec. Let's get to what I wanted to show y'all. Okay, so the same setups from yesterday. Obviously, yesterday was a difficult day. First of all, VIX has collapsed. We're like at 15. Okay, so what I was discussing this morning, let me erase this, and I'll cover this individually with people or over time the best I can. Okay, everyone hates change. Nothing's changed about the process. This is the normal. This is a normal entry. This is a normal entry. This entry stopped, 15 ticks, stopped out, popped back in, and entered. You'll notice since the VIX is lowered that this is the trade here. This is arrow, stuffed, right? Trap back in, lifted, trap back in, lifts, and this one hasn't stopped and went up. The key to this is, so let's say I was using the 24 tick, which I wouldn't pre-market. Okay. The breakout point for this bar here would have occurred here. Okay. Now, on the 24, it's just too big. That's a good example of why it's just too big. There's not enough speed and range to use the 24 pre-market. So that same trade setup, right? So you get long here and you go, I wonder where we'll break out. Well, the breakout will occur. Look for your last algo down. So see this algo? So here, right, the breakout would have occurred here. You see we can't close above that, right? Then we get a new arrow. So then the breakout would have occurred above this point. So this is the breakout. This is the backside test. That should hold on a 15 tick within 10 points. So breakout, backside test, lift. Okay, and then the same rule goes for the short. If I was looking for where this would fail, right, I would go like, so you got to put the same rules and nothing's changed about the process of where you enter and exit. Are we up? Have we gotten to a point of exhaustion? Are we in supernova? All that stuff still counts. Nothing goes away. This is added, but nothing is taken away from our prior setups. Let me grab some coffee. Okay, so if I'd been here at 751 trading, I would have gone long, arrow down, stuffed, stopped, trapped back in, long. Because it's trapping back in, I would expect a bigger extension, right? Now that I've got the entry here, I'm going to go, hey, if I can get price to close above this yellow line right here, I didn't draw it exactly correctly. Okay, so I would have either gone long this bar or this bar. Okay, one of the two, right? Actually, I take it back. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. ADD man. Arrow down, it's this bar right here. Okay, so I'd have gone long here, trap, get above, or, this is important, or I'm simply going to wait, right? I'm simply going to wait till it gets above this white line. This, we'll call it the TMP breakout point, right? I'm going to wait till it gets above. On a 15 tick, you can take it, usually actually from this point right here. In most cases, it'll hold within 10 points. Okay, meaning if you bought at the close, it'll hold within 10 points, or you can take the backside test and it'll hold. Okay, so traders who want super tight control can use 10 points from here. I'll be using 10 points from here. I don't know that it makes a difference, but that's how I'm setting it up, right? So if you look how that would have worked. Earlier in the morning, prior to this breakdown, we had some entries and we had some failures. So I'm going to show you not 5:30, but 6:30. Okay, so here's 6:30, right? So I'd have had this line marked off right here, roughly. So how am I figuring that line out? I'm looking for my TMP arrow down, right? Putting a line across the point of control. Make this big so you can see it. Okay, so remember my objective is twofold. First objective is just to grab the money out of the market. Second objective is to get the extensions, right? So there's two ways to handle this depending on what, if you're trading your own account, you're trading Apex, you're gonna have to adjust based on those companies' rules, right? So as I come in here, I'm gonna go, oh, well, I naturally have an Apex trap here, but now I know that I've triggered the breakout signal. I can either enter there with a 10-point stop or on the backside test with a 10-point stop. So think about this in terms of building your account, right? If you enter here, right, with a 10-point stop, and you go over here, that's a 1-to-1 RR, right? Now I'm gonna follow that idea through. This is, so notice this didn't touch the fourth channel, this one did is the difference. Same rules as before, you want to take it out of the fourth channel if you take it from inside. But let's say, here's the advantage of it, right? Let's say you took this trade as well. That's arrow stuffed, we all know that's a good trade, right? You took arrow stuffed, your breakout point you take arrow stuffed. And you go, okay, I'm taking arrow stuffed. My breakout point is a close above here. This bar closes above here. Now, normally your stop would be down here, right? So, how does this change? The close below actually doesn't seal its fate, so I want to be clear. The perfect entry never closes below, okay? But the pointy control back below this bar seals the fate. So now you move your stop, and you may not think this is such a big deal, but I do. You move your stop from 64 to 67, which is $60 a contract. It ends up adding up to a lot of money over time, right? And what you had there was a potential breakout, and really, you didn't even need 74, 64. No, that's perfect. So it's either 10 points from here or a point of control underneath. So that's your exit. That's a failed trade. Now, is that a good failed trade? Yeah, because most of y'all will have your exit below 64, like it's 63. So now you're moving it up from 63 to 67.75, almost 5 points or $100 per contract. It adds up to a lot of money. I'm going to keep going through here. So what we want, right? What we want is something that looks like, so you go, well, Simon, where does it look, quote unquote, perfect? Well, here, I'll show you what looks perfect. Okay, remember 15 in a low VIX overnight is normal for Europe and in this case US session too, right? Maybe not the first half hour, I'll still be skipping the first half hour. But what I want to do is see how I got, so if you said, Simon, what does it look like when it's perfect, right? So let's take this series through here in Europe, and let's say I was bearish, which I'm not, but let's say I was, right? I'm going to go through here and go, okay, no signal for entry here, right? So I'm going to come here. Okay, I'm going to either enter on the close or enter here. Either way, it's going to be a max 10-point stop, and I'm going to close out the trade right there. So in worst case scenario, I ended up with a 98 against an 05, 7 points, nothing horrible, right? Here, right, I'm going to look here, no signal to enter, right? Well, the arrow down, but again, I wouldn't take the arrow down by itself unless it's really fast. So nothing stuffed, and I know my breakdown point is actually all the way down here. No trade, right? Now I get up here, I have an apex trap, right? On an arrow. It's a good entry, so I enter right here. So I'm going to erase this. Let me show you the thinking. Apex trap, I'm going to enter right here. Normally I would put, let's just call it a 10 to 15 point stop on that, okay? But I'm asking another question. Where does it break down? So this is my arrow right here, right? And this is why it's important. This bar is my breakdown bar. Why is that important? Well, either I'm short here, or I'm waiting till this closes and I'm putting on here, or I'm hoping for the backside test, which you don't get in this case, okay? But now I know whether I'm leaving my whole position on or I'm leaving a trailer on. Doesn't matter which one you're doing. Doesn't matter which one you're doing. You know that unless you get a point of control above or 10 points, so if your entry was originally, let's call it 30, okay? So now your stop's going to move from 30 to 41 max. What was the bottom of that line? 31, 41. That's now your stop, right? So it's a 32 against a 41. It's basically it's a 9-point stop, okay? 8.5. And what I know is even if I'm going to go 1, 2 and scale, right? I know as long as the point of control doesn't get back above here, I have the potential to get the rip to the downside. In addition, as we're coming down, see that arrow there? I know I don't want it to close above there, right? So we'll use it for risk management on both sides of the deal. And then in speaking with Ed, he's also come up with ways to create zones from it, which I'll cover over time. So nothing's changed on the entry. The entry is normal, right? It's the risk management, right? So when I come down, now I've got this. Now I know I don't want a close above there. And you'll notice they reject off that line. See how it's creating little zones there? Now as it's coming down, right, I'm looking for my algo for reversal here. So see this line here? Now my line, okay, because it has to be algo in the direction, okay, and as you're hitting the bottom. So as I come over here, that's it. I'm out of the trade. But what that ended up, hypothetically, if you could do it, and I know it's not that easy, so I'm not saying look how simple it is, right? But if you entered here at 32, your exit was at 1603, right? That's a 30-point trade that was managed with risk all the way down. Let me give another example. Let's say we're trending up. I'm going to show you how this works the other side. I'm going to go to yesterday to show you. Okay? This will take a little while to get integrated. So this is Thursday, 8:30 in the morning. Okay? So let's pretend you shorted right here at 8:44, right? You said, Simon, I'm short that apex trap. I'm going to go, great. The closest area for breakdown, right, would be this line right here, right? I say, great, you're underneath. You don't want to close back above. You close back above, point of control above, you're out of the trade. Now, what I'm going to say is, if you go, Simon, where will it break out from, right? What would be the flip? So you still want to have a bias as to which way you're trading, right? Because I can tell you, doing this, I know if I do it slowly, I can flip both sides of the market. The reality is, with the speed of the market, that's very hard to do. So you really have to go, I'm looking long or I'm looking short. But you'll notice this is an apex trap right over here. Didn't touch the fourth channel, but we'll skip that small detail for now, right? I know, so see, looking over here, this is my plus sign, this is my breakout point. So it's the last algo down prior to whatever the turn is, right? Arrow, plus sign, this is my breakout point. You'll notice, okay, so see if you get a point of control underneath that. If it stops you out and you go, oh, point of control out, I'm done, I would leave at least 5 points below there. Like I wouldn't just, like if they just sneak it underneath, right? You want it clear, okay? That's gonna be breakout point number 1, right? And then the next breakout point, right, go to this, go to one arrow back, is this right here. Point of control above, bar above, point of control above, they attempt the backside test, and that's the breakout. And then when you're in momentum, right, when you're in momentum, so there is no, this is the arrow down, that's going to become your breakout point. You'll see they backside test it. That'll take practice, but if you'll practice it and you'll take your time to learn it, you will have a lot of profitable trades. So when you get up here, yesterday morning we were all struggling, right? When you get up here, this is your arrow up, this is your bar, this is your close behind with a 10-point stop. That's your exit. Excuse me. That's your exit right there. Okay? Now you restart that process. You still think it's short, right? Plus sign, so it's this. Whether you shorted that plus sign or not, your entry is this bar with a 10-point stop here for the people who want the tightest stop. So it's either 10 from 70 or 10 from 74. Choose your poison, right? Then as we go down, right, you're going to go, I want to stop out, right, behind these bars. That's how you're going to manage. You're going to use it as risk management on the way down. So that at worst case scenario, right, worst case scenario, you would end up, oh, I'm going to exit above 2450, which means you would have carried that trade from 74 to 24.50 and been able to manage it down. Not only will you be able to manage it down, but you'll be able to see more clearly where the turn's coming from. Notice, I did not say don't take this. I would take this, right? I didn't say don't take this. All I said is if you take this, you can't get the trade's busted above this, is all I said. So I want to pause. Does that make sense, how I just explained that, or is it confusing? I don't know what the hell's going on there. Joyce, Randy, anybody? Ed, Gregory. Okay, and anyone can draw it. You don't need me to draw it, right? So here's the other thing that would give me pause, right? If I get the trade up here, what would give me pause on this is that my nearest breakdown point is all the way over here, right? That's a long way to go to get confirmation. Correct. And sometimes you'll get jammed up. So, Randy, sometimes it'll get jammed up, like especially in chop. So, what you want is the next, really the correct answer is the next, if it's for short, it's the next lower point of control as opposed to simply the prior bar. It's the next lower prior control on a bar that was in the same direction as the algo. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the more correct answer. Most of the time, the way you wrote it is correct. So here, right, if I was here and I go, oh, plus sign stuffed, I've got to get below here to break down, right? And the other way, so you can use it is one of two ways, three ways. Trade management, addition to your trade, or initiation of trade. For my most conservative traders, the initiation of trade makes the most sense. You have the highest RR potential and the lowest risk of getting steamrolled all the way up. If you have a hard time identifying market type and that we're ripping one way or the other. And that would be my suggestion. So this morning, what I'm focused on is running through these algos over and over and over again so that you understand the layout and the way that this thing works, right? Hold on one second. So if we look this morning pre-market, so I don't have any opinion on which way the market's going to go today, right? Like, man, we're in whack-a-mole territory to say the least, right? Econ-wise. So let me say this. It's not a bear market, right? Clearly, if we were in a bear market, we are no longer in a bear market, right? Okay, we have 9 o'clock, U of M inflation numbers. That'll obviously potentially move the market. 12:25, Goolsby speaks. And again, Goolsby, who just apparently wants to yap today, is scheduled again right after the close. No one cares about that. And we have housing starts 7:30. So 9 o'clock is the big number. Okay? And then we go from there. So if I were trading right now, and it works the same way on the 24 tick, you just got to make sure you have the range, right? So on the 24 tick, I know this, so I'm going to erase this. You'll notice I'm also carrying them over from the 15. So up plus, that's my breakdown line, 74.75, right? All other rules still apply. So from over here, right, the latest, oh, by the way, Randy, not the highest, the latest. So see, this is where you'd have to move over. See how it's not the next bar? It's this bar right here. The 19,490. It does stop sometimes. Okay? So I'm going to make the same suggestion I make to everyone when I have something new, right? And what I'm going to say on this, there's two things that are very, very important. First of all, risk management's number one. No one needs to blow out their accounts today or on any other day. If you're having difficulty, reach out to me. I will take the time. I'll find the time to talk to you. Okay? Number two, okay? When I introduce something new, even if it makes totally logical sense, it can interfere with your decision to trade one way or the other. So see that right there? I would short 19,490 with a 10-point stop. So that see how it came right up against it? And now I know, not only that, but I don't want a point of control above this guy. So now it instantly creates a zone. 90 to 97 is my short area, and I would expect it to reverse and push down from there, right? That's what my expectation would be outside of we're on the open, right? So hold on 1 second. Really, this is totally in my way. So see how that fell off of that like that? Okay, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. Picture perfect. Underneath, backside test, 10-point stop. Now you'd be looking for 80, which I think you already got for your 1-to-1 scale, and then push, right? You can either move your stop to break even, leave it as is with a 10-point stop, and try to push it back to the downside. Okay, so does that help when you see it in real time? I need to fix my dome real quick here. I apologize. Hold on 1 sec. There we go. So when you're looking over here, I know it's pre-market, right? I'm going to do this all first half hour, right? Plus sign, your breakout point is here. There's your close above. There's your backside test. There's your lift. Okay? We should start getting a rhythm of doing that. It takes practice to get it right. But that'll be called the TMP breakout points. Okay? And it'll launch some huge, huge, huge trades. You'll notice how they defended the back of this on the 24 tick. Backside got defended. Now your point is this guy right here. Right? That's your point. On the breakout over here, right? See how this was the low? This is the last algo down. This was your breakout point. On the 24 tick, if you take the backside test, you need a 15-point stop. Okay, if you take the backside test on the 24 tick, they do stop. Don't overload your trade, right? They do stop. Okay, and then here, right, see it came down? That would be the breakout point on that O2. Obviously, you're going to have to judge the speed of which chart you're going to be on in order to make a good trading decision, and I will work on this on ES as well, but I have not had time. I figure by Monday I'll be able to figure out what the exact pattern is and introduce that on ES as well, which will be nice. It should work very, very good. Any questions, guys? This should be a huge ad for our room. Gigantic. Hit me, Dan. Same, all other rules apply. It's right here, Dan. You go to, I think it's 39 and 73. It is these right here. ID 8, ID 16, ID 12, ID 24. Plus sign, right? Yeah. ID 16, 12, 24. 8, 16, 12, 24. And that's what they're called. Green plus, red plus, red plus. 2 green pluses and 2 red pluses. And obviously, at the beginning of the day, I'm not taking a trade, so I'll just be drawing these out and going, this is what I see. Okay, so here the breakout, too fast for me to take. But if I redraw, that's the only problem with this is if it's a super fast market, you're going to be drawing and redrawing. So now it's here. It's this. And what I would want, right, is either enter here or a backside test of that 73.50 with a 15-point stop. In this case, I'll just put it at the low, right? Obviously, we're just illiquid ripping up and down. And what that does is it kind of improves your trade selection, because what you're going to want is that algo up nice, high, and tight that breaks us loose. Right? Like, for example, if I was going to say we're going to break out, I know I got to get underneath this guy. So see how that's defended the first time? And then I know if we're going to break out, it's a close above this guy. So that'll end up giving me a boundary from which to work my trades, if that makes any sense whatsoever, right? And now you can see they're just fighting between the 2 points, right? And it's going to end up being a 99.50, right? A 99.50 against a 84.75 for a breakout point. So see how I have no algo up here? Right, which means this guy here is still my make or break point. So I don't have any replacement for it up here. It's actually this guy right over here. Plus sign. It actually moves under here. that point right there. So it can get challenging to draw them out, no question. So now it's this. And see how they usually defend the first time against it? What a whack-a-mole job this thing is. So at any rate, we obviously wouldn't want it doing this little whip storm that it's doing right here, right? We'd like a little bit cleaner PA. And so one of the things that's taking away my attention, right? Like, so arrow stuff, right? Why? Because I'm busy trying to figure this part out over here. That'll come quicker with muscle memory. Okay, so see how you got the arrow down? It's this bar, close above, backside test. Like eventually you'll just see it. That's how I've been explaining where the breakouts are gonna come from. I usually just visually see it, right? Arrow down, point of control, get above, backside test. That's your breakout point, right? And you're not trying to call every nook and cranny and turn. You're still going to look at your chart and go, where's the prior day's high, prior day's low, etc., etc. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is analysis, edit out a good idea, initial balance, duplicate settings to 929. And then hello, subgraphs. How do I get the name label? Display values. I'll figure that out later, but that'll set off the IB high and low, which is in the same place as IB high is right now and IB low is. I'll figure that out in a minute. So this is long, correct? So see that? Bam. That's a normal trade anyways. Close above, backside test, lift. Same thing. So now the bigger breakout here is arrow down. It's this guy, and that should hold within 15 points is what you would say. Did not get a point of control underneath there, so that should make some kind of attempt at a lift. I'm looking on the 24 over here. And it's the same thing here, here, above, so the O2 should get tested just like it did right there, and within 10 points it should hold. Making sense? Guys, I know it's a lot of drawing, and even on me it's hard, and I'm quick on seeing these breakout points. But I need to know, hey, is it clicking? Boom, just like that. Following in a tight range is more difficult. I agree. So let me go fix this again. Change the color. No, I don't want that. I want this. Why do I have 1/2 IB high marked off? I guess it's one of two. IB low is this. So I'm marking in red. There we go. IB low. This is the 5-minute IB high, and the IB low and the 5-minute IB low are the same. Got it. And that's obviously not set till the end of the first hour. I agree, you have to erase and re-erase. So if someone can help me out with the profile today, I'd really help it because I was behind setting this part up. If we get into unfair pricing or fair pricing, and here I'll bring these down a little bit so I can see it. But if we get to a critical area, will someone please mention it for me? Here's the overnight. Here's the overnight. Thank you, sir. What was prior day's value area low, Randy? Value area high, excuse me. Although it's 19,450. $19,568. $86, not 68. Sorry, ADD man. 6. I would say should lift. Like that. Pretty cool, huh? Thank you, Joyce. Very helpful. So it will take you some time to get it, but it is a good addition. It is a very good addition. So see, I would say that's short now. Why? Bar, this bar, underneath, push down. It's just flipping too fast for the 15 tick, but it gives me plenty of opportunity to give you options. As a matter of fact, I'd say that 82 is the entry. Okay, because what I know, the reason I said that is, see how this is this arrow up, so the bar behind would be the stop at 83.25. So that's what it needs to get underneath to continue to the downside, right? Which is why they're defending it. We'll eventually be able to use these quite efficiently, both directions, right? So now the 93 would be the upside breakout on that. So that was here. It's quick. I'm not going to say it's not. Backside test. But I'd say those two pieces are magnificent additions. The arrows and the way that we're trading these, magnificent additions. So the blue is the 5-minute IB high. The red is both IB low and first hour and 5-minute. That's where the low is. Again, we're retesting that 88. Ed, am I doing this the way we discussed last night? Is this flowing correctly or confusing? You do. That's why you want to use the rest of your pieces to put in place. Like Supernova is a good way to use it as a bias, right, Randy? So obviously, given the current market conditions, my bias, I'd want to over press on the long side in this environment than on the short side, right? Yep. So I can tell you in Apex US session from this morning doing this, I'm up 2665 per account, and I was up about a K last night. So yes, 100%. I agree. And it's on the 24 tick, it's a 15-point stop on the backside test, and on this 15, it's a 10-point stop. But they're good locations. So now, right, if I were to look at this and I wanted to short, which I don't, right, that's my line of delineation, right? So it's 23 against a 10-point stop, which puts your stop right up here at 33. I'm not short, not taking it short, just pointing out the trade. And now I know if 30 closed, I'd have now I wouldn't have the point of control, but if I see the point of control above, I know I've got to go, right? And there's no point in sticking around for 33 or 38 or any of that other. Once I get the point of control above, you just have to go. So on the bigger time frame now, it's this. Which makes perfect sense in that case. It's IB high, right? They trapped all those guys above prior day's high there. And you, just so you're aware, you have single prints right down here. And prior day's low. And prior day's high. Wow, they got the point of control up above prior day's high, then tanked it on them. That's brutal. Obviously, with the inflation number, you could expect the market to jump strong one way or the other. Just relax. We've got the setup we need to scalp this money out. Obviously, breakout above 19,534, which is current IB high for first hour in the first hour. Again, you'll see, I know it was fast as lightning. You probably needed the 24 here. It's that. It's really, once the pace gets manageable, it's going to be very, very profitable. Like this first half hour, it's almost impossible. And then same rule, touches the fourth channel, breaks the algo, pops to the other side of the channel, takes off, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Chop will be harder. In a slow market, 15 tick, fast market, 24 tick. There's the econ. Below there's where the issue is. Remember, that's just the current 5-minute IB high. You need below here. $16.25 on both of them. It's actually this guy right here. Sorry. They're just dancing around him. It's 61.25. Over here, arrow up. That's the first. You'll see behind, or 1350. Excuse me. Backside test that 36. And if that holds below the 36, that's where you would see the rush below, but it's got to hold below the 36. And obviously buyers are in control, so you'd want to push down to look for longs. Talk about just a yo-yo. Climbing up yo-yo, but it's a yo-yo. Starting to grind. Don't get frustrated if it starts to grind. Oh, thank you, Joyce. I didn't know that. I don't see it on my tape, but Joyce is saying there may be news of war. Good or bad, Joyce? Can you tell me the source, please? Joyce, I need some specifics, please. That's just enough to spook me and not enough to get confirmation. What do you? Well, where are you getting the information from? Is an Israeli news station? Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. That's what I was trying to figure out. Thank you. Choppy environment, guys.